Well, it's fight week for the most pointless fight in UFC history, and we've all got to pretend to be hyped about it. Now, what really is this fight? If we're being honest, this fight is to decide who's the third best heavyweight in the world right now. And that's the first reason why this is the most pointless fight in the UFC. It's a championship fight, and it's not even to decide who the best in the world is. Not even a second. We're not even pushing it a little bit. We're pushing it a lot to third. Okay? And let me tell you why. So, Jon Jones wins his title when it is vacant and he fights a guy who Francis Ngannou already beat. Okay? So, straight away, there, we've got the battle of who the second best heavyweight in the world is. Then, over time, Tom Aspinall creeps up, and he has the greatest claim out of anyone of being the best heavyweight on the planet right now. For me, if you say Francis or Tom, I think that's valid. If you say John, I think he's stupid. But you've got Tom and Ngannou, who both can compete for who is the best heavyweight in the world. Okay, they're 1 and 2 either way. And then after that, you've got Jon Jones, who has a fake Mickey Mouse title. Okay. And he's fighting Stipe, a guy who has fought once this decade, and he got knocked out cold. Wow. Wow. We are seeing who the third best heavyweight on the planet is. Wow, I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited. I'm so excited to find out who the third best heavyweight in the world is. I'm so excited to see who will vacate the belt and just give it to Tom Aspinall. I'm so excited for that. That's my first reason. My second reason is, and this kind of ties in with the first reason that I gave, we have a much more interesting matchup that could very well be made. But the reason it's not being made is selfishness. Okay, and I understand the fans have an aspect of selfishness and wanting to see this fight, but selfishness, pride, ego, delusion, stupidity, all just think of everything that makes you tapped in the head. Okay, and then there you go. Those are the reasons why we're not getting a much more interesting fight, which is Tom Aspinall. Okay, instead of getting 31-year-old Tom Aspinall, who moves like a welterweight and has insane power and insane technique, we're getting the 42-year-old who hasn't fought in God knows how many years, and Jon Jones, who has also fought once this decade. If I think the Dominic Reyes fight was February 2020, so he's fought twice this decade. Okay, twice. We are getting a much less interesting matchup when there is one that we can easily get. We can easily get that, but the higher ups like Dana and John are just being defiant. They're just being defiant. They're being petty. They're being pricks. Dana's delusion and thinking this is what the fans want to see. Jon Jones' ego, he don't want that shit to get shattered, so he's not risking it. That's my second reason. Much more interesting matchup that could very easily be made. Then my third reason is we've got these two guys fighting each other, and neither of them, don't get me wrong, both absolute legends, okay, whether you like it or not. I don't have Jonas to go, and I also think Stipe is overrated, but haha, ain't important. Either way, none of these guys are in that prime. Okay, the last time you could argue that John was in his prime was like 2017. Okay. 2019, 2020 Jon Jones isn't prime Jon Jones, okay? John hasn't been in his prime for about 7 years. Stipe hasn't been in his prime since, what, 2019? The second DC fight? You could maybe stretch it out to 2020, but I would argue that that wasn't his prime. I think him and DC both were out of their prime in that fight. If you want me to be entirely honest, I think the gap between the second and third fight took a lot out of them. So we've got two guys who are both at least like 5 years removed from their prime, and we are being lied to, and we're being gaslighted, and we're being manipulated by the UFC into believing that this is some ultra mega fight. Shit, maybe 2016, maybe 2017, 2018, 2019 at a push, but 2024, the big 2024. They're nearly halfway through the 2020s decade. Are you kidding me? You think we're fucking stupid? Okay, this is the most pointless fight in UFC history, and it's a joke. It's a joke. And then moving on to my fourth and final reason. This doesn't add to anyone's legacy. Maybe Stipe, but we all know Jones is gonna win, and this doesn't add to Jones' legacy at all. This is a stain on his legacy. The fact he's taking this fight over Tom Aspinall is a stain on his legacy. I would argue this ducking of Tom Aspinall is a bigger stain than the failed drug test, which it shouldn't be really, but you know, that's how it be perceived from most people. This is a stain on the UFC. You know, the best are meant to fight the best. Shit, ain't like, we ain't seen the best fight the best, okay? We're seeing the battle for third place. This fight is a joke. Everything about it is a joke. It's pointless. And we gotta pretend to be hyped about it. Real main event is Charles the Bronx. Charles the Bronx. Charles the Bronx. Anyway, I'm out, man. In a bit.